why don't see me? This was my first thought on my first day of 7th grade. My family and I had just moved from my homeland of Trinidad and Tobago to a decidedly homogeneous suburb of Houston, Texas. And as I looked out at all of these faces staring back at me that first day in school, my first middle school, I remember thinking, I don't look like anybody here. I don't dress like anybody here. I don't sound like anybody here. I don't even behave like anybody here. And it was a little uncomfortable and a little vulnerable and mildly terrifying. But whenever you're in a situation like this, one where you have absolutely no control over what's happening, you just do what you gotta do. And I took a deep breath and I waded in. This was my first, but not my only memory of not seeing myself. College was the same. My first job was the same. Even law school was the same. But it wasn't just my professional life or my academic life. It was also, I didn't see myself in films. I didn't see myself on television. I didn't see myself in national magazines. The fact is that when it comes to people who looked like me or sounded like me or behaved like me, we didn't show up that much in the media, if at all. And at first it was really isolating. But as I grew older, I realized I'm not the only one. There's thousands of people out there who don't look like and sound like and behave like everyone else, and they don't see themselves either. And it's the nature of media, after all, to amplify and sometimes even decide what's cool. So after a while, I got a little upset about all of this, and I decided I was going to create a little media of my own. So armed with my camera, I decided I was going to write and shoot a book that celebrated the unseen people, the people who were different. I found 8 folks that I thought were extraordinary, people who were unlike anybody I'd ever met, and were all the better for it. And then, because I was on this mission to prove that different actually is beautiful, I invited people right on my website to meet me one very cold, rainy, drizzly January day in front of the Museum of Fine Arts in Houston to let me photograph them. And the only requirement was they had to come equipped with the answer to the question, what makes you different? Dozens of people showed up, and they were all incredibly willing to share their stories with me, something that I'm forever grateful. And about a year later, after all the work that happened, the result was my book, The Beauty of Different. And I'm really thrilled to say that it was very, very well received. I had tons of people who emailed me and said that they felt a little less isolated, a little less ignored for having read the book. And at the time, I felt like I made a difference. Then about a year later, after the buzz around the book sort of died down, I started looking around. I was finally not doing the whole book promotion thing as much. And I looked around and I realized things really hadn't changed that much. And in my opinion, at the time, it hadn't changed that much, particularly for women. I felt like there was still a lot of media talk about the way that women singers and women actresses and even women politicians, about how they dressed and how they looked. I felt like there were corporations constantly telling us that if we bought their product and just changed that one little thing about ourselves, we'd finally be beautiful. Right? And as I'm watching this and I'm looking at this, I'm getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And as I told you before, when I get angry, I figure I gotta do something about it. And I have this archive of all of these women that I had photographed. All of these women who were from all different backgrounds, from all different walks of life. And I thought, I've got all of these photographs, I can do something about it. So I decided I was going to create a video of this. And so I sat down, I went into my little office in my little house, and I got all of these photographs, and I created this video, and I stuck a few messages in there about what I thought it took to really be beautiful. That would help counteract the messages we were getting from the media. It took about 3 or 4 hours to do. And afterwards, I uploaded it onto YouTube, and I shared it on the site. And with your indulgence, I'd like to share it with you right now. So yeah, so that was the video that went up, and I got lots of really lovely feedback. Of course, women that were in the video emailed me and said that they were really happy to be a part of a message that was really positive. And it was on my site, and so all the loyal readers of my site also sent me notes of encouragement. And that was about 2 years ago that I put it up there, and probably within a month of my putting it up there, I got about 2,000 views, and it was great. I felt great. Again, feeling pretty proud of myself at this point, and then I forgot about it. And then Upworthy got a hold of it. So about 6 months ago, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Upworthy.com, they are a website whose mission it is to take meaningful content and spread it as far and wide as possible. And they found it last summer. They found my little video last summer, and they put it on their site. And then about 6 weeks ago, they actually did it again. And it exploded. Like, it went crazy. And as I stand here before you today, it has about 500,000 views on it. And it just went nuts. And of course, then all of the emails started coming in. Lots of emails and lots of notes. And overwhelmingly, it was positive. I had people who told me that when they watched it, they had been recently really tough on themselves, and watching the video made them realize that they needed to cut themselves some slack. I had other people email me and say, you know, I have a friend that's dealing with some self-esteem issues, and I immediately sent the link to the video to my friend so that they can realize that that thing that makes them different is actually the source of their beauty. I had mothers who emailed me and said they immediately watched it with their daughters, and I had teachers who said that they shared it with their students, and it was fantastic. But for the very first time, actually for the very first time since writing the book, I started to get a lot of negative feedback as well on this. I had several emails of people that said, loved the video, noticed that you didn't take photographs of anybody under the age of 30. Clearly, you don't think women of all ages are beautiful. I had one woman email me, and she said, I really actually liked the video a lot, but I'm Muslim, and I noticed there wasn't one woman who was wearing a hijab, and I hate that your video perpetuates the lie that Muslim women are not beautiful. And I had several emails from men saying, no men in your video. You know, men deal with self-esteem issues as well. I guess you hate men. So I'm getting all of these messages and emails and notes that actually come as recently as today. And I'm embarrassed to say that I was not happy. I was defiant and defensive as I read all of these notes. And I remember just getting them and thinking, you know, the age range of the women in that video go from 18 to 80. Of course I think women of all ages are beautiful. And I remember thinking, oh gosh, maybe I could have done better. Maybe, you know, when I took those photographs, I wasn't even thinking about making a video, but maybe a more thorough thing to have done is to actually talk to these women about what faith, if any, they practice. And you know, I could have had that story. I had no idea if any of those women were Muslim or any other faith, for that matter. And then, I would be like, of course I love men. My husband's a man. My dad is a man. My grandfathers are men. Some of my best friends are men. I love men, you know? And I'm sitting this and I'm reading all these notes, and I'm getting angrier and more bitter and testy and defensive. And then suddenly I realized that my reaction really doesn't matter. Because all of these notes that I was getting, every one of them, they fell under one heading. And that heading was this: Karen, I don't see me. Yeah. I don't see me in that video. And I have no argument for that. Because if somebody sends me an email and says, I don't see me, any isolation or discomfort or vulnerability they feel, that is real. And nobody gets that better than I do. So then I felt really bad. And I started thinking, oh my God, what could I have done to have made this better? What have I done? Like, have I just become part of the machine, and what have I done? And then I realized, you know what? This job is way bigger than me. Way bigger than just me. And so, as I stand here before you today, if you are watching this or hearing my voice, I'm here to ask you for help. Because here's the thing. We live in marvelous times. We live in a time when we are the media. We don't have to wait for Hollywood or corporations to show us to ourselves. We can make ourselves be seen. I mean, we are like the $6 million man, baby. We have the technology, right? So I'm going to ask you all to join me in helping define beauty in all of its amazing different ways. And the way we can do that, man, you know, if you see something that really speaks to you as far as beauty, you should share that on your social media as far and wide as possible. Write blog posts, leave blog comments, write articles, create e-zines that create beautiful art that provoke and expand and sort of blow up beauty in all of its diversity. Grab your smartphones, take selfies, take photographs of each other, and spread that all over Instagram and Facebook. Just do what it takes. Create video for YouTube. And I know you can do this. I know you can do this because if I, sitting in my little home office in my little suburban tract home in Houston, Texas, can take my camera and my old computer and cobble together a 3-minute video, upload it to YouTube, and it goes viral, if I can do that, I know you can do that. And if you do it, share it with me. Email me, let me know, and I will amplify that as much as possible. Because if there's anything that I have learned over the past 4 years, since I've been doing this, is that the world is a better place for having seen your beautiful different. So join me, and together, in the words of Walt Whitman, we will all say, I too am not a bit tame. I too am untranslatable. I sound my barbaric yawp over the roofs of the world, in a manner of speaking. So join me. And together, we are going to prove to the world that all of us, each of us, is uncommonly beautiful. Thank you.